Eric Muathe from Muathe.com. Let's take a look at TBT here as we begin the week. It is November 14th, 2016. So the stock is, or the ETF is opening higher, about 1.2, 1.4, 1.5%. Very early on in the trading, market's been open for about an hour and a half. Now this is a good lesson because we see here what happens when a stock has, for example, here we see the daily RSI is currently trading above 69.1, and as long as the daily RSI is above 69.1, don't expect a pullback. It's only when it moves back below this number that you're gonna get any type of a pullback. For now, it's gonna continue trading well, trading strong until the RSI is back below 69.1. We also see evidence of this if we take a look at the hourly. See here that the hourly is also trading at above 69.1. It's been trading above 69.1 since about here at about 37. So again, as long as the instruments you're trading are above 69.1, don't expect a pullback. Also, in other words, if you own the instrument, you want to hold on to it until it moves back below 69.1 on either the daily or on the hourly. But for now, both the daily and the hourlies are above 69.1. You have to assume there is strength in the stock. Generally speaking, what happens is that the stock might pull back. The stock might pull back on the RSI here, find support, come back, make a lower high, and then point down. During that same period, the prices are going to go down slightly. They're going to come back and make higher highs and then start pulling back. In other words, most of the time, your true high is going to come with this positive divergence situation, improving price highs, lower highs on the RSI. That negative divergence is what ultimately sets the stage for a pullback. In other words, generally speaking, you're going to observe that the stock is going to have another high before it eventually pulls back. So holding above 69.1 might suggest, as it has been doing here, that even with a pullback, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to make a higher high. In other words, if you own the instrument, you can take partial profits and expect that the stock eventually, or the ETF in this example, eventually makes higher highs, because for there to be positive divergence, you'll need an improvement in daily price highs or hourly price highs, and also the RSI to make a lower high. And that's the only way you can make a true high. In other words, for there to be a pullback, generally speaking, there is some type of negative divergence. Even on this chart here, we can see a slight example of that. We can see an improvement hour to hour in price highs, but you can see it's the negative divergence here. You made a lower high that ultimately led to this pullback. So what I'm saying here, because of this magnitude of holding above 69.1, generally what you're going to observe is you're going to get a shallow pullback, a move to new highs short term, while the RSI makes a lower high, and that negative divergence, that negative divergence is ultimately where you get the true pullback. So be aware there could be higher highs at some point. Generally speaking, that's what normally happens. Now, of course, if you take a look at the weekly chart, you can see that there's evidence of weekly resistance. So this might play out by the end of the week. The instrument might be lower based on the previous break line of the highs. This break line is what I believe is being tested week to week of the highs there. So right now in the current market, the stock has rallied its RSI back to this threshold. Let me just draw it that way. Keep in mind, it all depends on where we close for the week. If we are down for the week, confirming resistance here with uniform action, this is going to be a strong resistance level. There's also another line that connects the previous back test line. So I'll draw it from the lows here, extend it out, something like that. And this line captures the resistance here of the break somewhere here. Of course, we got a pullback. Since then, it was a problem. Resistance for the highs there, resistance again for the highs there. We went above the line and back below it for resistance and back below it. Sell signal for this level. You can see if we turn negative here, that would be another sell signal. In other words, let me remove all that and explain this. So if this is confirmed as resistance by the end of the week, if the market calls back below the blue line, that's going to be, to me, short term, a good sell signal. And also we can see that that would correspond with the previous line somewhere around here. If those two lines are confirmed as resistance week to week, then we can assume that the next meaningful direction is going to be lower. But I would speculate, based on that hourly chart, it might take a while for this to play out. In other words, until we see negative divergence, we might be looking at the possibility of much higher price levels before the true pullback takes place. Eric Mwatha with Mwatha.com. I hope all that makes sense. Good luck, peace and blessings. E-A-C-S.